Richmond, Terrence James, USMC, primary specialty, MCMAP instructor.
What's that?
McMap. Maybe he's a navigator?
Why don't you Google that, Jess?
What was it again? MSC?
MAP.
Let me restart this Wi-Fi. Chief, he's here.
Was on active duty during Iraq, but did not himself serve overseas. Never deployed.
So no combat experience.
None.
You hang back?
Got you, Chief.
Chief?
I'm glad you're back.
That Wi-Fi up yet?
It's coming. Marine Corps Martial Arts Program.
What?
MCMAP. Combat system combines hand-to-hand, close quarters.
We both know you never left the base.
Checking up on me.
What were you, motor pool?
No, put in for infantry, but they found a use for me stateside.
Oh. I think he's on the Wikipedia page. One mind, any weapon.
Call in any units on patrol.
Yep.
Chief!
You want to honor that deal, or do I got to transition to
Put some
E?
distance between you.
Let's not do that.
Hey! Let go and move back.
Okay.
The movie opens with Terry Richmond, a former U.S. Marine trainer, riding his bike while listening to music. Suddenly, a police cruiser pulls up behind him and deliberately knocks him off the road, sending him crashing to the ground. The officer, Evan Marston, steps out with his gun drawn. Moments later, another officer, Steve Lauren, arrives. Marston lies that he had been trailing Terry for over 2 miles, trying to pull him over, and accuses him of fleeing.
If you're saying I fled, that's bullshit. I couldn't hear.
Still dazed, Terry insists he never heard any sirens. The officers search his bag and discover a package. Terry refuses to let them open it.
It's not Chinese food.
I didn't say it was.
May I look inside?
No, you may not.
And requests a canine unit. But when they say it will take hours, he reluctantly agrees to let them look inside. They find $36,000 in cash.
It's a lot of cash you got on.
It's not illegal.
Terry explains that the money is legitimate. Most of it comes from cashing out his share in a Chinese restaurant, and the rest is from selling his car. He says $10,000 is meant to bail out his cousin, who's in jail on a weed possession charge, and the rest is to buy a truck and start a small business. Ignoring his explanation, the officers seize the money, calling it suspicious and likely tied to drugs. They tell him he can fight for it in court, but that could take years. Or he could face charges for money laundering conspiracy. Not wanting to escalate things, Terry lets them take the cash and walks away frustrated but free. Determined to bail out his cousin, Terry heads to the courthouse, where he meets Elliot, a court secretary. When Terry hands him only the seizure receipt, Elliot bluntly tells him it's useless. Without the actual money, there's no way to post bail. And to make things worse, all inmates are about to be transferred to a state facility because the local prison is under renovation. Elliot ends his shift and leaves, much to Terry's frustration. Just then, a young clerk and aspiring lawyer named Summer arrives.
So you sure they took all your money?
I mean, I got what's in my wallet.
And then offers to help Terry. At a local diner, Summer explains the grim reality. Under civil asset forfeiture laws, cops can seize money on mere suspicion of drug ties, and it can take a year or more to fight it in court. She warns him that the police captain has allies everywhere and suggests they leave when a cop enters the diner. Before parting, she takes down Terry's cousin's details. Terry explains his cousin can't be transferred to a state facility because, years earlier, he testified against a powerful criminal boss. If he ends up in state prison, he'll be a marked man. Summer urges Terry to find more money fast to post bail before the transfer. Desperate, Terry calls his former business partner at the Chinese restaurant, Mr. Liu, the one he had cashed out his share from, asking for another $10,000. Mr. Liu agrees to send the money by mail, which is the only option in town. With nowhere else to go, Terry spends the night in the woods, staring at the police department's location on his phone, determined to protect his cousin. The next morning, Terry shows up at the police station before the officers arrive. He files a report with Officer Jess, claiming he was robbed by 2 cops, describing them exactly as Evan Marston and Steve Lauren. Just then, Steve walks in. When Jess mentions Terry's complaint, Steve quickly takes over, warning Terry to drop it or face a felony charge for filing a false report. Before things spiral, Police Chief Sandy Burns steps in. He calmly insists that Terry's detention was lawful.
You've been treated with more than due respect.
Then he delivers a thinly veiled threat. If Terry keeps pushing, he'll be prosecuted for interfering with police duties. He also orders Terry to stop recording their conversation immediately.
You are in a secure area, so I'm going to ask you if you'd be so kind as to cut off your recording device and exit my station.
Terry produces documents proving the money came from his restaurant investment, hoping to clear his name. Realizing he's at a dead end, he makes a desperate offer.
What if I didn't fight it? What if all I wanted was the 10 for bail, you keep $26K and I disappear? I just need him out.
We don't have one here, but there's a form you can sign to disclaim that currency. At bus corrections, or are we chartering?
Charting it from correction.
Comes when?
Thursday, we break ground Friday.
All right. Yeah, we'll follow up on this. Don't exactly have visiting hours around here, but if you come back here at 9 a.m. on Monday morning, you can see your cousin, and we'll put this to bed.
Thank you.
Now, off.
That night, Terry sleeps outside again, this time in the pouring rain. When Monday comes, he rides back to the station, only to find out he's been played. The bus carrying the inmates has already left.
You said I could see him.
At 9 a.m. You're 3 minutes late.
Furious but determined, Terry cuts through the forest to intercept it. He manages to catch up and shouts to his cousin Mike, promising to post bail soon.
Tell me I'll be in
No,
and
I'm
out.
serious. I know who you are.
I bet I f***ed up.
Just stay low, all right?
And urging him to demand protective custody once he reaches the facility. Mike nods, and the other inmates cheer Terry on as the bus drives away.
Come on! Yeah!
Terry then calls Mr. Liu to ask about the promised $10,000, but Mr. Liu delivers crushing news. The police raided the restaurant, seizing his safe under the pretext of a drug investigation, a raid triggered by Terry's earlier statement at the station. Apologizing, Mr. Liu says he can't help.
No, I didn't implicate you, sir. I was accounting for the money that was in my possession. I couldn't have been more clear.
I don't doubt that, but you didn't draft the warrant, and I'm gonna miss payroll.
I'll make this right, sir.
Okay, sure.
Running out of options, Terry returns to the courthouse and pleads with Summer for help. At first, she refuses, worried that helping him further could cost her job.
Look, I need this job, Terry. You gotta go. I'd use the back door.
Frustrated, Terry carefully leaves the building. But Summer chases after him with new information.
Sorry, it's too many lurkers. Judge walked in on me going over Mike's file. Yeah, thanks. He's fine.
She's discovered something off about Mike's case. Misdemeanor charges usually don't keep someone locked up this long, and bail amounts are rarely that high. She explains that there are only two ways to free Mike: a court order or paying the bail. Realistically, bail is their only option. She promises to prepare the paperwork, but Terry has to find the money within 24 hours. Back at the station, Officer Steve goes through Terry's file. It says Terry was an MCMAP instructor in the Marines, but has no deployment or combat history. Chief Sandy breathes a sigh of relief, assuming Terry is harmless, and asks Jess to look up what MCMAP means, but the Wi-Fi is slow. While she's trying to fix it, she spots Terry arriving outside and alerts the chief. Sandy grabs his gun, saying he'll deal with Terry personally. Outside, Terry reminds the chief of their deal. He gets back $10,000 and everything is settled. Sandy scoffs, warning him not to make demands.
You do not stand in my station in front of my officers and set terms.
Well, I wasn't aware it was a pissing contest.
Come on now.
He says the only reason Terry isn't locked up yet is because they don't have a working jail. Calmly, Terry tells him he's backed him into a corner, and now he'll have to act differently. Inside, Jess finally pulls up the info. MCMAP stands for Marine Corps Martial Arts Program. They realize Terry was a Marine combat trainer, skilled in hand-to-hand fighting and weapons.
Call in any units on patrol.
Yep.
Steve immediately pulls his gun, warning Sandy to keep his distance, but it's too late. When Sandy tries to draw his weapon, Terry snatches it away and unloads it in seconds. Steve rushes out with his gun raised, but Terry is already holding Sandy as a shield. In a quick move, he disarms Steve with a Kimura lock, just like Habib said. Then drags the chief back into cover. Construction workers nearby try to intervene. One even pulls a gun, but Terry forces Sandy to order them to stand down. With Sandy as leverage, Terry forces his way into the station and locks the doors. He makes Sandy admit Jess is hiding inside.
We're the only ones here. Skeleton shift.
Bullshit. Sims is here. You got two on patrol. If this goes fast, it'll go as well as it can. But if you slow me down, it's gonna suck for everybody.
Jess, come on out. Come on out, Jess.
When she comes out, he orders her to disarm, cuff the other men, and take him to the evidence room. Inside, Terry finds stacks of cash and weapons far beyond what a small-town department should have. Clearly, something shady is going on. He tells Jess to count out $10,000 and leave the rest.
Count out 10K. Deal's a deal. Feel free to round up, though.
Reminding them that's all they agreed on. After pocketing the money, he warns her not to play hero and to help him get out without bloodshed. She plays along, pretending to have him cuffed, and reassures the workers outside that everything is under control.
Don't get ignorant. This man is a veteran, going through something difficult. We had a misunderstanding, but it's over.
They get into a police cruiser and drive away. On the road, they pass Officer Marston. Jess signals that everything is fine, and he doesn't interfere.
What's that? What's that mean?
Code 4. I'm okay. You're okay.
Once they reach a safe spot, Terry tells Jess to report that he escaped. He hands back her gun after unloading it, retrieves his bike from the cruiser's trunk, and heads straight to the courthouse. By now, the city is crawling with cops searching for Terry. With Summer's help, he posts bail for Mike. Elliot begins counting the cash while Summer rushes the release papers to the judge. Terry waits, eyes fixed on the door, knowing officers could show up any minute. He quietly asks Summer if he'll be sent to the same prison as Mike, hinting at a larger plan. But before she can answer, the police burst in. They order him to the ground. Steve fires a taser, but Terry fights through the shock, rips the taser away, and struggles before being tackled and cuffed. Panicking, Summer records everything on her phone, shouting at them not to hurt him. Later, a paramedic checks Terry and tells Officer Marston he's fine, but instead of taking him to jail, they drive him to meet someone. Chief Sandy joins them in the car. He admits that if he'd known who Terry really was, he might have handled things differently.
When you came in today and gave yourself the tour, what'd you see?
Not sure how I'm supposed to answer that.
You can be frank.
Terry reveals he saw the piles of cash and weapons in their storage room. The chief casually shrugs it off, explaining that their department never got proper funding.
That cash is our operating budget for the next 2 quarters, if that. All of it legally seized, all of it going back into the community.
So they started selling weapons, first to other departments, then to whoever paid. Over time, it turned into a lucrative underground industry. The car stops at a hospital. Sandy throws Terry's remaining $26,000 on the ground and orders his handcuffs removed. He explains that Mike was attacked and stabbed in prison and is being flown in for emergency treatment. Furious, Terry reminds him he'd warned this would happen.
I told you!
Sandy coldly lays out the deal. Take the money, pick up the truck they've arranged for him, and leave town forever, or face 30 years in prison. And if that doesn't work, they'll simply kill him. A helicopter lands with Mike aboard. Terry rushes to see him, but it's too late. Mike dies from his injuries without ever regaining consciousness. The coroner informs Terry that Mike had listed him as next of kin, so all his belongings will be handed over. Devastated, Terry meets Summer, who offers him a ride out of town. On the way, she gives him files showing cases similar to Mike's. Petty arrests with unusually high bail, where detainees were kept in jail for 90 days straight. She suspects a bigger scheme, but Terry shuts her down. His only goal was to keep Mike alive, and he failed. He tells her he doesn't care about fixing the town anymore. He just wants to leave. He notices a police car following them and gets nervous, but Summer tells him it's her friend, just covering for her. Once they cross the town limits, the officer tailing them turns back. Summer drops Terry off at a roadside spot. He thanks her and gives her his number, just in case. From there, he goes to finalize the purchase of the truck the police had arranged for him. That night, trouble finds Summer. Someone breaks into her house while she's asleep, injects her with drugs, and leaves the syringe in the sink. Dazed and terrified, she almost calls the police, but then thinks better of it and reaches out to Terry.
Terry, I'm in trouble.
He rushes over in his new truck and finds her collapsed in the bathtub. Summer confesses she can't risk going to the hospital. A drug test would expose her, ruin her legal career, and cost her custody of her daughter. She admits she has a past. She used to be an addict and was once arrested for stealing her father-in-law's lawnmower to buy drugs. That mistake led to her divorce and losing custody of her child. Holding back tears, she insists she'll be fine and will just go to work and act normal. This morning, Summer is summoned to the judge's office. Someone has already tipped them off about her supposed relapse. She's forced to take a drug test, knowing it will come back positive. Alone in the restroom afterward, she breaks down, realizing she's about to lose both her job and her daughter. Meanwhile, Terry is driving through town when a police cruiser suddenly pulls him over. Officer Steve steps out. Almost instantly, 2 more cruisers appear, one blocking the road ahead, another behind him. All their lights are off. Steve admits they keep them off to avoid triggering the dash cams.
These new cruisers, you run the lights, the dash cam starts recording.
He demands to know why Terry is still in town after Chief Sandy warned him to leave. Terry explains he's helping a friend in trouble and will be leaving soon. Steve makes it clear they can frame him however they want. Plenty of people saw him storm the police station. Then Steve plants a gun on him. Terry ducks, taking a bullet in the back but managing to wrestle the gun away. He tasers Steve, knocking him unconscious. The other 2 officers rush forward with guns drawn, but Terry grabs his keys, jumps into his truck, and speeds into the forest. Bullets tear through the vehicle, but he narrowly escapes. Elsewhere, Summer stands outside her daughter's school, quietly watching the little girl play with her friends. When the teachers spot her, they remind her she isn't allowed there. Heartbroken, she watches from a distance, until a police car suddenly pulls up. At the same time, Terry hides hides his truck under a bridge and continues on foot. He calls Summer, who tells him an officer friend visited her, warning that she needs to stay away from Terry and leave the city immediately. Terry asks her to grab her car and drive to a location he'll text her. Later, they meet up at Terry's former workplace, the Chinese restaurant. There, Summer finds Mr. Liu tending to Terry, removing bullet fragments from his back and bandaging the wounds.
You should be at a hospital.
Look who's talking.
This is different.
Terry explains that Mr. Liu was a field medic during the Korean War, so this wasn't a difficult procedure for him.
Oh, thank you for your service, sir.
He's Chinese. Fought for the other side.
Wow, it's good we can all come together.
After Mr. Liu and his assistant leave, Terry asks Summer to explain what she uncovered about the cops. He suspects they're hiding something. Otherwise, they would have made a big show of hunting him down, maybe even called in federal reinforcements. Instead, they're keeping things quiet because of what Summer found. She tells him they're manipulating defendants' jail time, hiking up bail amounts, and keeping people locked up for 90 days to exploit the system. The exact motive is still unclear. Terry vows he's done running. He's going to make the police pay for what they did to Mike. Before they leave, he drops some cash for Mr. Liu. Then he and Summer head out together. On the road, Terry asks about Summer's friend in the police department, the one who escorted them out of town. He wonders if the officer could testify, but Summer corrects him.
Never said it was a he.
He, she, fine. Codename Serpico.
Hinting that it might actually be a female officer. Summer explains that testifying isn't an option. Just warning them once already put the officer at huge risk. Later, they track down Elliot, the court secretary, at a children's game night. Meeting him outside, they press for answers. At first, Elliot refuses, afraid that helping them could get him charged with aiding and abetting. But under pressure, he finally talks. He points back 2 years, to a civil case that almost destroyed the police department. Summer connects the dots. The timeline matches the start of the suspicious arrests. Elliot hints that if they really want to understand, they'll need to confront the judge. That same night, they sneak into the judge's home. Terry, wearing a mask, approaches the judge, but the man immediately recognizes him and calls for Summer to step out.
Where's Summer?
I was gonna ask you.
Elliot called.
Calmly, he explains that ordering her drug test was actually his way of protecting her. He feared the police might do something worse. When Summer asks about the civil case, the judge reveals the truth. An illegal search led to a man's death, and the lawsuit nearly bankrupted the town. In response, the city tried to shut down Chief Sandy Burns' department, but the police found their own funding through illegal forfeitures. The judge explains the pattern. Misdemeanor defendants are liabilities. They're mistreated during arrest, so the cops keep them jailed for 90 days, just long enough for dash cam footage to auto-delete. That way, there's no evidence left that could put the department in legal jeopardy. Summer realizes the basement of the courthouse must hold the archived hard drives, including the footage from Mike's arrest. Before they leave, they discover the judge has overdosed on his wife's pills.
Hey, how many did you take?
They call 911 and watch from a distance as paramedics rush him away. That night, Terry and Summer break into the courthouse basement, but cops are already there. They hide in the shadows as officers set fire to the basement. Thinking fast, Summer douses the flames with coconut milk before they reach the archive room. Inside, they find dozens of hard drives. Summer remembers that more than 20 body cam SD cards were collected over the last 2 weeks. One of them must hold footage of Mike's arrest. On their way out, Terry restarts the fire to cover their tracks. But Summer insists on retrieving something else, her urine sample. She sends Terry to wait in the alley. Alone, she sneaks off, only to be caught red-handed by the cops. Terry, waiting in the car, watches helplessly as they drag her away. He tails their convoy until it splits. One cruiser is left behind, while the others drive off with Summer. Terry slams his truck into the lone cruiser, drags the officer out, and handcuffs him. Under interrogation, the officer admits he doesn't know where Summer's being held. Terry then forces him to call his superiors. Grabbing the phone, Terry delivers a clear message. He has the evidence, and if anything happens to Summer, he'll release it all. On the other end of the line, the man agrees to a trade. At dawn, at a place called Rebel Ridge. The next morning, Officer Steve and his men wait at Rebel Ridge with Summer locked inside a car. Hidden snipers and officers set up an ambush, but Terry never shows. Instead, he calls Chief Sandy, accusing him of breaking their deal and causing this mess. Nearby, Officer Marston spots Terry's truck and quietly approaches, but when he breaks the window, he's stunned. The officer from last night is gagged and tied to the driver's seat. Meanwhile, back at the station, Terry is already in action. He's chained his truck to the storage room pipes. He rips the wall open, breaching the evidence ambulance room. Officer Jess radios Steve and the others, panicked, telling them to abandon Rebel Ridge and return to the station immediately. At the station, Chief Sandy searches the storage room with his gun drawn, unaware that Terry is behind him. Terry fires a non-lethal shotgun loaded with beanbag rounds, dropping the chief to the floor. Jess storms in with her weapon raised, but Terry quickly disarms her. He tells her he knows she's been secretly helping Summer.
Listen, I know who you are.
That she's Serpico, and that she clearly doesn't support what the department is doing. Because Summer told him,
Never said it was a he.
She, fine.
And Jess is the only woman in the department. Handing her the SD cards, Terry warns her that the chief is willing to kill for them. Terry straps on a bulletproof vest, grabs weapons, and leaves a gasoline can behind as leverage. He warns the chief that unless he knows Summer is safe, he'll burn the entire building. Cash, weapons, evidence, everything. Soon, the rest of the police force surrounds the station. Jess alerts Terry. To prove he trusts her, he gives her back her loaded gun. But as he prepares to face the officers, Jess suddenly turns her weapon on him. She radios outside, claiming she has Terry in custody.
10-4, hold fire.
Nobody dies today. We'll sort this out somewhere safe.
And orders him out at gunpoint. Outside, Jess directs the officers to rescue the chief, still tied up in the storage room. Terry drops his weapons bag, and Jess hands the SD cards to Steve. Without hesitation, Steve smashes them under his boot. Then he cruelly reveals Summer in his cruiser, unconscious from an overdose. He lies that she took the drugs on her own and pushes for Terry's execution on the spot. But Officer Marston interrupts, demanding they detain Terry and rush Summer to the hospital. The disagreement escalates.
He's in custody and she's on her way to the ER.
We wrap this up here now. Let it play
We're
out.
sworn officers!
It's a gift. We got her on a legit B&E, ties her directly to the fire. Drives are gone, she goes away, this all goes away.
Guns raised between officers. Before anyone fires, Chief Sandy steps outside and shoots Marston in the legs. As Marston collapses, Terry realizes the truth. Marston, not Jess, was Serpico all along. Bravo, Summer. If you'd just told the truth about your friend in the police department instead of that BS
Never said it was a he.
line, none of this would have happened.
Sir, he's bleeding bad.
Call medical.
Now, hold on.
While the cops argue about calling an ambulance, Terry seizes the moment. He grabs Marston and the weapons bag, dragging him behind a cruiser as bullets fly. He throws flashbangs to disorient the officers, then takes them down one by one using martial arts instead of firearms. Finally, he corners Steve, beating him to the ground with brutal punches. Marston tells Terry their only chance: reach a cruiser and activate its dash cam.
Listen, you hit those disco lights. When you do, it's gonna activate.
Dash cam. Why? So I can record my own death?
No. Mine. I got pre-event recording. You hit the lights, camera goes live. It records 3 minutes before you hit the switch. Figure you got about 2 minutes left.
Shit, maybe you too. You put a finger right up in it.
Terry fights his way to Steve's cruiser, switches on the lights, and the camera immediately records the chief firing at him. On the road back, Marston explains how to give Summer the antidote to counter the overdose. But before they can escape, Steve clings to the cruiser, trying to pull Terry out. To make matters worse, one tire's been blown, slowing them down. Just then, Summer regains consciousness. Seeing Steve hanging onto the window, she shoves him off, freeing them for the moment.
You got the chief shoot me on camera, but the recording needs to survive. If you got a bail, the DVR is in the trunk.
He's not gonna bail.
Oh, they're on us.
The police chief and the remaining officers close in, ready to ram them off the road. But at the last second, realizing how far they've gone under their chief's leadership, Jess switches sides. She speeds past Terry's cruiser and slams into the chief's car, sending him crashing off the road. Before the others can continue the chase, Jess radios the entire station, reporting that an officer is wounded and that they'll be escorting Terry and the others to the hospital. The pursuing officers fall in line and escort them to the hospital. With sirens leading the way, Terry finally reaches the hospital. He rushes Summer into the emergency room, then runs back to retrieve the dash cam. Clutching it tightly, he waits anxiously in the hospital lobby.